So what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, guys. I am David. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the gun on my hip. Let's get into it. First off, guys, let's talk about our Second Amendment, which is our right to bear arms in a nutshell. And I do like to practice that Second Amendment every single chance I get. If I lived in a state where I could open carry, I would literally open carry anywhere I went. Or if I can even conceal carry legally, I would hand over fist conceal carry also. But I do live in New Jersey, where it is illegal to conceal, or it is illegal to open carry also, without the appropriate permits. And if you are a police officer and stuff like that, whatever, but as a civilian, as a person, as an individual, I cannot open carry or conceal carry. With that being said, when you do see my weapon on my hip, it is because I'm on my property. And as of recently, I've gotten a few questions, and people say, why do you have a gun in your hip? So first off the bat, like I said, just for my Second Amendment, and I do practice it where I can. And then also, I had an experience here when we first moved to the property. We were 2 years old. If you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. What's up? And if not, you already know. I'm 2 years old onto this property, roughly a little over 2 years onto this property. And when we first moved into the property, I was out front, and I had a rake, a wooden rake with a plastic rake part in my hand, and I'm raking. I think I was laying pavers or moving some stuff so I can lay pavers down, I think. I don't remember. But I was outside raking, though, no matter what it was. And I heard something behind me, and I looked behind me, and there was a white ram looking at me. So my first thought instantly comes to my mind. I'm thinking to myself, okay, if this thing decides it wants to charge me, this can end very, very badly for me. This can be very bad news if this thing decides it wants to pick a fight with me. So I'm thinking instantly. I have a wooden rake in my hand. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn this thing around. I'm going to jam the wooden part into the ground as hard as I can, because at the time the ground was pretty soft. And if he tries to ram me, I'll let him break it. And then I'll have hopefully two wooden, I don't know, sticks in my hand, if you will, to try to keep him off of me, or poke at him, stab at him, or do what I can. Not that would help, but it's all I had, and it was quick thinking, and I'm like, all right, that's all I can really do if this thing decides it wants to attack me. That being said, I realized that I live in the outskirts of town, so we do live out in the middle of nowhere to a perspective. But there's no wild rams here that I'm aware of in New Jersey. Wild rams are not a thing. So instantly my mind came back to me, and I'm thinking, okay, this has got to be someone's pet. Now, is it an aggressive pet, or is it not an aggressive pet? Is going to be my question. So he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. He's kind of panting. So I'm like, all right, he hasn't rammed me or tried to ram me as of this moment. And I'm thinking, I'm backing away very slowly from him. And he's just kind of looking at me still. And there was a bucket next to where he was standing, and he kind of started moving away. So I grabbed the bucket because he was panting, and it was hot out that day. So I filled it up with water, and I just set it out for him because he didn't do anything, and then I graciously walked away. Now, in that moment, I thought to myself, how silly is it of me if I were to get attacked by this wild animal and I didn't have my gun on me? Like, that's silly. Like, I own a gun to protect myself. And where I can holster it, I do holster it, because if something were to go wrong, this gun does serve the same principle as a condom. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And it dawned on me then that how silly would I sound when if I tell my friends, yeah, I got hit, a ram rammed me, I'm in the hospital, it broke my leg or something silly, or it mauled me up, or it did something traumatic to me, I'm in a hospital. Most of my friends would be like, don't you own a gun? And of course, at the time, my gun was in the safe. The clips weren't loaded. The ammo's in the safe. The gun's in the safe. The gun has a gun lock on it, and all of those safety things. And it was after that incident of us living in the middle of nowhere, for the most part, sort of, kind of, that I realized, okay, what else is on this property? And for the record, if you're new to the channel, just in case, I am just under 7 acres here. We're just under 7 acres here. And so I do hunt deer, or elk, or depending where I'm at. I do hunt, period. I would love to do some wild boar hunting. Anyway, so a friend of mine hunts also, and so we took a bunch of trail cams and we put them around the properties when we first moved in. So we put a bunch of trail cams all over the property. The property was way overgrown. You couldn't see in. It was all thick, just like you see in the background. But it was all it was all the way to the back of my house. It was all overgrown. Within 20 feet off the back of my house, it was all overgrown. And so we put trail cams everywhere. And lo and behold, on those trail cams, there were bear on the trail cam, there were coyotes on the trail cam, there were foxes on the trail cam. Obviously, there were deer. I got 2 wild dogs. They're not wild dogs. They're somebody's dogs that were just on my property, which we don't mind the dogs. I don't think that they're aggressive dogs, but there were 2 dogs over by my deer feeder, and I was like, what are these dogs doing in my property? Which I don't really care about. Once again, like, as long as they don't attack me or my children, they're more than welcome to come and play on the property. I don't care. I love dogs, and I can't wait to get one. With that said, now I holster a weapon because I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. During mating season or rutting season or whatever you want to call it, when the deer start going into heat and they start mating, the bucks become very aggressive. And I've experienced this firsthand. I was on my tractor. I was on the Coyote CK2610, and I was out back on the property. And sure enough, I'm back there. One day I was back in the football field, and section of the property, if you're new to the channel, the back right of my property you can't see is a football field. The back left is Area 51. So I was in the back part of the football field grabbing something off the property back there, and there was this big buck back there, and he starts like huffing at me, and I'm on the tractor. Like this guy is standing his ground. He's like snorting at me and he's huffing at me, and I'm like, wow. At the time I had my gun on me though too, and I'm like, if it really comes down to it, I will take you down. Like, make no mistake about it. And I would harvest that meat. I wouldn't let it go to waste. But it wasn't hunting season at the time either, I might add. But it was it hunting season? It might have been, actually. It might have been hunting season. It might have been bow season, actually. As I stand corrected. I think it might have been bow season. But either way, it doesn't matter. It was rutting season, and the thing was huffing at me, and I was like, wow. But he ended up, shooing away, and I just kind of turned the track around, did what I had to do, and kept moving. But because of the animals and like that, I do holster a weapon just out of sheer safety. I have babies here, and I will protect them by any means necessary. And also, I want to come back home not messed up by some animal or getting beat up by a buck or anything like that. And I'll just be extremely clear. My gun is not, without a really good shot, and I'm a decent shot, I might add. I am a respectable shot. But my gun is not going to necessarily stop a bear without a good shot. It's not going to. You're going to piss that thing off more so than probably anything, unless you got a really good shot on him. A fox I'm not worried about, coyote I'm not worried about as far as a takedown is concerned, or me having to dispatch that animal, if you will, in a need be situation. I wouldn't do it for fun. Not hunting for fun. I only hunt for necessity only. If I want some Venice on my table, well, I have to go hunt, and I respect those things. So I'm not killing anything just to be killing something, or dispatching it just to be, or however you want to say it, whatever appropriate term you want to use. I'm not taking that animal out for no particular reason. So coyotes, when I saw them on the trail cam, there were 2 of them, which was crazy to me because I didn't think we had coyotes out here at all. I couldn't believe it. I had to go fact check myself with a few different wildlife experts, if you will. And they're not literal experts, but they're way more in tune with nature and what's out here in song and dance. So, and they were like, yeah, those are coyotes, man. There's 2 of them, and they travel in packs apparently. So that was kind of interesting. And then the bear we saw on the trail cam, we saw a big one, and then we saw a little baby one. And I don't know if it was black or brown bear. I'm not too sure of the species of bear it was, but I would easily say the little guy had to be 150 pounds, and then the mama bear, if it was a mom, I'm assuming it was a mom, had to have been 400 or 500 pounds. The thing was massive. And then as of recently, we just heard a couple coyotes the other night here, and then also in our Facebook group for our town, there was an alert for 3 bears that were spotted in our area. So those are the real reasons for the weapon, other than my Second Amendment, which my Second Amendment comes first. I like to practice my right to bear arms more so than anything, but on the same token, I do want to keep myself safe around here. Now let's talk about the gun specifically. When I tell you it will not take out a bear, this is a Glock 22. This is a 2nd generation Glock 22. It holds about 15 rounds. Now here in New Jersey, you cannot have a 15 round magazine. You can only have a 10. So mine holds 10, but this is capable of holding 15 rounds. Let me rephrase that. The gun and the appropriate clip is capable of holding 15 rounds. Mine only has 10. It has a stop on it because I can only have 10 rounds legally here in New Jersey. So let's talk about some specs on the gun. So as far as my weapon is concerned, roughly speaking, my weapon's about 1 pound 20 ounces loaded. Roughly speaking, now there's going to be a couple of different variables involved. What type of ammo you're using? You got hollow points, you have aluminum rounds. So there's a couple different variables, but roughly my gun's about 1 pound 20 ounces loaded, fully loaded with 10 rounds, not 15. Like I said, once again, it's illegal here in New Jersey to have 15 rounds. That being said, so the slide length on this, your slide here is about 7 1/4 of an inch, roughly speaking, guys. The width of this is going to be about 1 inch. The height is about 5.5 inches. That's with the mag, from here to the tip of the mag, and it's a little over 8 inches from tip to tip. Now this is a 2nd generation weapon. On the 2nd generation, there's no rail here for like a red dot, if you will, and stuff like that, to spec it out a little bit better. I do happen to have a rubber grip. You can see this right here. A rubber finger grip. I do have a rubber finger grip over my handle, and this was a state trooper issued weapon many years ago. This is my first handgun that I've ever purchased, and I purchased it probably about 20 years ago. I purchased it used. It was a qualifying state trooper weapon at the time of purchase, and I've owned it for a lot of years. It's not the only Glock I own. I also own a 9mm, and I won't go through all the weapons that I own. I'm only talking about the one that I actually holster on my side here. That's it for that, guys. I won't go in and bore you with every single little spec and detail of the weapon itself, but I did want to touch on it just as a quick short little video here, just because people have been asking, and now if people start asking, I can refer them to the video and say, check this video out if you guys want to, if you're interested as to why and the reasonings and stuff like that. I do carry a weapon on the property. So that being said, that's gonna wrap this video up, guys. That's it. That's the Glock 22. I'm super happy with it. I mean, the thing is freaking amazing. We love letting off rounds out back. Set up some targets, have a little fun. The mama owns a 9mm. She has a Sky 9mm pink. I have like I said, I won't go through all the weapons that we have, but we do some target practice, keep ourselves fresh. If you guys would be interested in seeing some target practice go down, let me know in the comments below. I'll happily drop some comments. I'll happily film some footage if anybody wants to see target practice going down, see how good of a shot I am. That would be fun. Have some contests or something like that. It'll be pretty cool. Do some John Wick type stuff. No, I'm only playing. I wish. That would be a lot of fun if I could set up a course like that, though. But anyway, that's going to be it, guys. We're going to wrap this video up. Thanks for joining me for this one. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that, please just let me know below. If you got any fun facts to add to the Glock 22 2nd generation, let us know in the comments. Let's all learn together, all of that fun stuff. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, all of those fun things for me, guys. Check me out in the comments. Join me down there. Let's chit chat and BS about some weapons. If you own some, let me know what you have. Let me know what your favorites are, and stuff like that. And we'll see you later. That's it for this one. 2 things as always. Don't forget to take the time to enjoy what you do, and don't forget, work does not do itself, so don't be afraid to get out there and get after it.